So I think what we'll try to do, Emily and I here today, is just give you an overview about some of the significant stages, at least in the editorial portion of the publication process, and usually the way that process is started is often by the submission of a proposal. This can be after having talked informally with an editor at an occasion such as the Congress, where editors are thick as flies in the book fair, and you're welcome to come talk to us about your stuff. But it's always important, even subsequent to such a discussion, to be able to draft a convincing proposal for your book, not least of which because you may want to propose the book to a number of different publishers subsequent to maybe your first publisher of choice, or subsequent, or at the same time. So I would say the first thing about the proposal is a question of timing. A proposal is a document, and each publisher has a sort of a guideline. If you look on their websites, publishers' websites are really useful these days, and different publishers may ask for different things in the proposal. So the first thing to do is to do a little bit of research into a prospective publisher, at least as far as, this will be something that you'll do when looking at other books that press has published in terms of finding a good fit for your book. There'll be certainly other things on that press's list that will have brought that press to your attention, and so there's always substantial information about what a press would like to see in the form of a proposal. There are a number of these shared elements with this kind of thing. This can be. It's never too early to talk to an editor about your prospective book. On the other hand, you need to be far enough along and able to draft a complete proposal to start, to send into a press. So there are some elements. The most important element, I think, is a relatively short form description of your book. This is something that would include, for a scholarly book, that kind of magic triumvirate of aim, scope, methodology kind of thing. So it's important that be, different publishers have different lengths for that kind of project description. So I would say respect what the publisher suggests on their site, but be prepared to try and encapsulate your book in a relatively short amount of text, at least compared to the projected length of the book. And this kind of summary description of your work and its importance, its relevance to particular scholarly audiences, or possibly more general audiences, the type of literature in the discipline, in your discipline, or in a number of disciplines that it's engaging with and contributing to, are all important things to address in at least what McGill-Queen's asks for is a 2 to 3 page description there. The question of discipline and audience is an important one, because I think the proposal is a site at which you can really demonstrate the degree to which you have a kind of a self-possessed knowledge of your own project and who it's speaking to. And this, in all stages of the publication process, is a really important thing to try and acquire. Other aspects of the proposal, so there's the description, the overview of the discipline and its potential audiences, the sort of value in scholarly terms of the book, in terms of what it's trying to do and the questions that it's trying to engage. All of those are part of a relatively short description. There are more sort of pragmatic considerations when it comes to submitting this kind of thing. These things can usually be discerned from the website, but in most cases, scholarly publishers have editors that handle specific areas. And so it's important to try and identify the right editor that is the right person for your manuscript. If you're unsure about this, you can always call prospective editors and figure out whether they are the right people, and that's relatively easy to do and is less problematic than sending something to the wrong editor or sending something that is addressed to the wrong person, particularly if you're using the same form letter and editing it for a number of different presses. There's nothing worse than getting a nice printed package on letterhead that says, "Dear Emily Andrew," and I'm not Emily Andrew. You know.
Except it's the best when you get a "Dear Emily Andrew" and you manage to get the project anyway.
Well, that's why we know that we're better than you. No, that's not true.